I am Pam Fox. Thank you for joining me today. Pam Fox at pamfox.org. Today I'm making dinner, so I'm streaming live on YouTube a little bit later in the day, but I'm making dinner, and I'm going to be making the Dagwood sandwich from my cookbook, Plantar Reflux. And the reason I call it the Dagwood sandwich, maybe you guys know this already, maybe you don't, but is because my mom, when I was a kid, would always make these like mile-high sandwiches that she called Dagwood sandwiches. And she would put everything under the sun in these sandwiches. You just like, I just watching her eat it was just like me. I was a peanut butter and jelly kid or a cheese sandwich kid, but she would do these. Anyway, so this sandwich is kind of like a layer sandwich. It's got a lot of veggies in it. And it's really a simple and quick sandwich. Usually when I make it, I make two. Today I'm going to make a sandwich and a wrap just so I can show you how easy it is. These are easy. I'm actually going to go outside and eat my dinner at the park, so I'm going to wrap them up and take them with me, which these are really easy to do. Or you can make a salad, like if you're gluten-free or if you can't do bread for whatever reason, you can make a huge, bowl of greens and throw these ingredients in and then massage the avocado into it and make a salad. So you have those choices. And I noticed in the cookbook that I didn't include carrots, and I always put carrots in this sandwich. So that was a typo. So I'm going to be putting carrots in today. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it two ways. I'm going to make it in the recipe. It calls for sliced raw mushrooms, but you can also cook your mushrooms, and that just makes a little bit more of like a, it gives it more variety with the temperature when you put the hot mushrooms in there, and it makes it a little bit more juicy. So that's something you can try, or if you like raw mushrooms, keep it raw. But today I'm going to be using these Baby Bella cremini mushrooms, and these are one of my favorite, but use whatever is your favorite, or use what's on sale in your store, or whatever is available to you. A lot of the recipes in the book call for sliced mushrooms, so you just want to use what you like or what's available to you. So I'm just going to slice these up really quick. Sometimes I buy these pre-sliced. It just depends on what's available to me at my store. Sometimes the sliced ones are on sale and they want to get rid of them quick. But I like cutting mushrooms. To me, it's one of the funner vegetables to chop up, and I enjoy chopping vegetables. So these kind of, you guys, as you know, if you ever cook with mushrooms, these do shrink down quite a bit. And if you're wondering why I'm not washing these before I eat them, guys, it's just a personal choice. These are organic. And yes, I do realize how they grow mushrooms. I just usually don't, if they're organic, I usually just don't wash them. I might give them a little rinse if they look like they need it. But to me, things that are grown and have a little bit of dirt and fungus and whatever on them, I mean, to me, that's good for us. So you guys have to make your own choice. I already have a pan. I'm going to leave a few of those out. So I'm going to make two sandwiches, one with raw and one with cooked. But I have a pan here heating on the stove top. So when I cook sliced mushrooms, I just put them in the pan. I add a little bit of water when they start to stick. This is a non-stick pan. I don't use any oil, and they do great. You just put them in and leave them alone. When you're done, if you want to add a little bit of seasoning, which I probably will add some salt and some sumac to that, it's just really easy. So we're done with that. We can just let it go while we continue to prepare the rest of our sandwich. I have a cucumber here. I'm just going to I just quickly peeled the skin off of this. And you could use a mandolin. Since I just have this little bit, I'm just going to thinly slice my cucumber. And the cucumber adds a little bit of freshness and crispness to this sandwich. I personally like, on this sandwich, I like to cut my mushroom or my cucumber nice and thin. Like almost like a millimeter thin. So nice and thin. There's that, and then I already got out what's left of my shredded carrots. I do buy these organic shredded carrots. They have them at all my local stores. But they're nice because you just reach in and grab them, throw them in a stir fry, throw them in a soup, throw them in a sandwich. And then avocado, and this is going to be a beautiful avocado, I can tell. Today when I went to the store to get these, all the avocados were rock hard, and then I went over to the organic section and they had these and they were perfect. They're perfectly soft. Can you guys hear the whistle? It's quitting time. So we don't even need to really, I'll just go ahead and score this. We're just going to mash this right into our toast. So when you're buying bread, you guys, if you're trying to go strictly plant-based, just look at the ingredients. Usually whenever it comes to ingredients, if you look under, it'll list all the ingredients, and then it'll say contains. And that's where it'll list things like dairy, nuts, soy, eggs, kind of the common allergens. And so when I'm buying, something like this, I just make sure it doesn't have any dairy in it. I prefer Dave's Killer Bread. That's just my favorite. I'm just going to stick these in the toaster really quick. This is going to go really fast. And I'm going to do a wrap as well. And I'll tell you, my favorite tortilla is my favorite flour tortilla is La Rosa, Larosa, La Rosa. And it's my favorite because it's hard to find, and for years I've tried to find a tortilla that I enjoy that doesn't have a ton of ingredients. Like usually when you look at the ingredients, there's so many things in there that I don't necessarily want to eat. And I love tortillas. I make a lot of burritos and wraps. And so look, this La Rosa brand, I really enjoy it because it's got the least amount of ingredients and it still tastes good. Like a lot of times when you go into the nutrition part of your store or like Whole Foods or Natural Grocers and you buy like their tortillas, they don't taste very good. Like the healthy ones, they don't taste very good. They're barely edible. And so, but these La Rosas, they're a nice kind of a compromise because they taste really good and they have the least amount of ingredients for a store-bought, pre-made tortilla. The best thing you can do is take a little bit of time and make your own tortillas. I personally don't do that. And by the way, in my last video, I had mentioned, I was talking about beans and I was talking about how you could soak your beans to make them more digestible. And I had mentioned that it's a lot of work to soak your own beans. It's really not. It's really the amount of time it takes you to throw some beans into a pot, cover them with water, put a lid on it and walk away. It's just that you have to do it, like the day before. So you have to be, what's the word? You have to think in advance. But it really isn't a lot of work. So I just wanted to correct myself because I was saying like it's a lot of work. It's not a lot of work. And it's not a lot of work to make your own tortillas either. I'm just lazy about certain things and I like to take a little help from the store where I can just to make things move along quickly. So this was that easy. I almost dropped that. These mushrooms are done and they're nice and golden brown. And I will take your questions. I just don't like to do it while I'm talking because I get distracted so easily. But I will look at your questions. I'll remember to do that. So now is the time to season your mushrooms. I like to do it when they're done. I can't remember why, but so I'm going to put a little bit of salt in there, and I'm going to put a little bit of sumac in there. Okay, so all you do, I'm going to throw, oh, I hate to dirty a dish, but I'm going to. In my tiny little kitchen, I have to like stack everything in here. Always stacking. So I'm just going to throw this in here to kind of warm it up a little bit. I don't want to really cook it, but I want to just warm it up a little bit. So, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put, I'm going to be eating this whole avocado today. Now, if you're trying to cut back on avocado because you're trying to lose weight or whatever, that's fine. Just don't put quite so much. I love my avocado, so I do put quite a bit on here. I'm smashing, I did 1/2 on that side, and I'm gonna do the other half on this side. And this is kind of like your mayonnaise or your spread or whatever. It gives it that creamy mouthfeel. And then I'm gonna put these on here. Okay, and I'm gonna put half of the cucumbers on here. So normally when I eat this, I also eat it with tomato, but out of solidarity to today, I will not be adding tomato. And for you, you know, if you can tolerate tomatoes and you love tomatoes, add tomatoes. Tomato is not in the recipe for obvious reasons, because tomato is a common trigger food for reflux. And then we're gonna put some greens on here. Right now I've been really enjoying these. I've been shopping a lot at my local Safeway just because it's the closest store, just about the closest store to where I live. And because if I go in there at certain times of the day, there's hardly anyone in there. So it's kind of nice considering. So I like these tender ruby reds. It's just spinach and baby greens, red butter lettuce. And the reason, personally, the reason I like this so much is because it doesn't have arugula in it. And I know you guys people love their arugula. I personally think it ruins anything it's in. I cannot stand it. I hate arugula. It tastes like vomit to me. I don't like it. So we're gonna pile this up on top, and we're gonna put some carrots in there, and we have our layered sandwich now. And I am gonna add a little bit of seeds. I just have this mixture here that's got pumpkin and sunflower seeds, like that. Okay, and I'm just going to wrap this up because I'm going to take it to go. Cucumber overboard. So sometimes I wrap things, like if I'm packing something for like my husband or a joint picnic, I'll wrap them in like wax paper. We lost some of our mushrooms. I'm gonna take a bite out of this just because I'm hungry. Ooh, yikes. All right. So I literally just wrapped that in a fairly clean towel, and I'm gonna throw it in my backpack. Okay, let's do another one. I'm gonna do raw mushrooms in this one. I'm gonna save a few of these for tomorrow. Cucumber. Oh, and I should have done the avocado first. Smash the avocado in first. Darn it. Okay. So that's all right. We'll just put it right in whole. But you can put it right on the tortilla and smash it in like I did with the toast. Cucumber on the floor. I like lots of greens like that, and we'll wrap this baby up best we can. When you're wrapping something like this, don't be afraid to kind of push and pull, like push down on it, squish everything in, pull it back, and get everything in there nice and tight. And then you want to just cleverly fold the sides, Got an avocado in the way there. I'm just pushing it back in, push that cucumber in, and then just keep squishing it down and roll it like that. Looks like it's about to break there. And then if you kind of throw it at the last minute where the seam is, just throw it back in the pan. That'll kind of seal it for you. I've already turned that off, but all right. So that's it. We'll wrap that one up. Did I miss anything? Oh, I forgot to put the seeds in the wrap, but that's okay. Woo! That was close. Oh, I almost grabbed that towel and flipped it. All right, so that's it, guys. I mean, just quick, simple, filled with nutrition, filling, because I have 2 sandwiches. Okay, so I'll go to some of these questions right here, and then I'm going to talk about why I became vegan. Oh my gosh. Okay. I hope you're well. I want to reverse my hiatal hernia. Can you please tell me what courses I need to purchase from your website, as there are 2 courses and I am confused which one to purchase. So those 2 courses, there's the Reversing Hiatal Hernia Naturally, which is the one, that's my first course, and it's everything I did to reverse my hiatal hernia, all the exercises in there. The second one is the maintenance program that I kind of developed out of requests from my customers, and it's really either for people who have reversed their hiatal hernia or for anyone with a small hiatal hernia. And it's just got another series of exercises that aren't that much different than the original exercises, except to say that as I learn more, you know, from the first course that I created to the second course, I've learned more. So what I've done is I've combined those 2 and made a best value offer where you can get both of those courses for $99. But I would say if you're trying to save money, just go with the Reversing Hiatal Hernia Naturally. Or if you know that you have a small hiatal hernia, just get that maintenance course. It's cheaper. And I think it's not going to have as much teaching in it, like, because in the first course, there's a lot of me talking about a lot of stuff. So it's a shorter course. But so yeah, I hope that answers your question. And I will be talking more about hiatal hernia in about 10 days. Can hiatal hernia also cause weight loss and blood sputum? In a roundabout way, it can cause weight loss because a lot of people with hiatal hernia have so much pain and discomfort due to the hiatal hernia that they just forego eating so they can lose weight for that reason. I love the idea of being plant-based since it provides so much nutrition, but I always thought grains like bread is really bad for digestion and a common intolerance. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call it a common intolerance. There are definitely people who can't tolerate grains. For me, I went gluten-free and grain-free, actually, the first 2 months that I went on a plant-based challenge. And then I reintroduced grains one at a time, like starting with, I never had issue with oats, but I started adding in different grains and I didn't have an issue. So you really just have to use trial and error. I personally believe that grains are of benefit and that they are nutritious. I know that there is evidence that goes against that, but you know, when it comes to doing research, there's a lot of things that you can look at, and then you have to make your decision based on what, you know, the research that you looked at, the sources that you trust, and so forth. Some people can't tolerate grains. For some people, they're highly beneficial. So I love having grains in my diet. It's not all I eat, but I occasionally have a sandwich or a wrap or, you know, rice and things like that. So it's just up to the individual. Reverse hiatal hernia. We'll talk more about that next month, or you can go to my website, pamfox.org. How do you reverse your hiatal hernia? Oh, Danielle, you can go to my YouTube channel. I've got several videos on the topic. When I do these videos, I try to stay on topic, and today's topic is the sandwich, and then I'm going to be talking about all of the different reasons I went vegan and like all the different health conditions, all the health issues that I had, how it was affecting my life. I'm going to talk about that here in just a second. Hi, Sandra. Okay, it looks like there's some back and forth going here, so I am going to Thank you for your information. Do I also need to follow a specific diet while following your course? I mean, you don't have to. I recommend plant-based nutrition. I have worked with individuals who have decided they weren't going to change their diet when they're trying to reverse their hiatal hernia, and they've had success. I've had others who have not had success. So for me, changing my diet wasn't enough to, by itself, to reverse my hiatal hernia. I had to learn how to physically reverse my hiatal hernia. So it's just like, you're going to hear me say this a lot. It's going to be different for everybody. But okay, so let's wrap up this wrap really quick. Busted open on one side, but oh, I want to eat this. So yeah, this is just a clean napkin. I'm just gonna wrap it up and throw it in my backpack. So, okay. So really quickly, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time on this just because a lot of you have heard it, but my story is one of a person who has had health issues most of my life. Starting as a young child, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis, children's arthritis, when I was 8. And shortly after that, I was in and out of the doctor a lot. I was tested for allergies, and I was told I was allergic to everything under the sun. Not food. I actually, when I was tested for food, they told me I was fine, eat whatever you want. But I was allergic to everything. Pretty much I was allergic to the air, right? So like if it's animal dander, dust, mold, chemicals, perfumes, smoke, pollen, anything that you can breathe in, pretty much affected my allergies, and they diagnosed me with asthma. So from most of my life, I don't remember, other than the last 6 years since I've been plant-based, I don't remember not being symptomatic. And in fact, in the few years up till I went vegan, the symptoms of my allergies got worse, and I stopped taking my medications altogether because I didn't think they were even helping me. Turned out they were helping me, just not as much as I wanted them to. But when I went off my medications, my allergies and asthma got even worse. But I didn't want to be taking those medicines all the time. I wanted to cure my allergies and asthma, and plant-based nutrition really, in a sense, did that for me. Now, I know I still have allergies and asthma, but I am symptom-free for the most part. Now, if I were to go into somebody's house with a dozen cats and stay there for half a day, I'd probably be sneezing and wheezing and coughing, and my nose would be dripping and my eyes would be itching. But I can go to my sister-in-law's house, and she has cats, and I can stay for a couple of hours before I sneeze, before I start to have symptoms. There was a time when I couldn't go into her house for more than 10 or 15 minutes, and then I would be sick for days after that. We're just like, couldn't get the symptoms under control, just wheezing and sniffling and sneezing and swollen and all of that. So yeah, allergies and asthma that I've dealt with all of my life. I've taken every medicine the conventional medicine has for allergies and asthma. When something new came out, I took that. I've done it all. We won't get into that, but so yeah, I went on a plant-based diet, and my allergies and asthma got better I noticed within 2 weeks, like I was puffing on my inhaler less and less. And then I had a test one day where I was in a situation where I was surrounded by triggers, and I was fine. I couldn't believe it. So what else? So I did have a condition called hidradenitis suppurativa. Some of you know what that is, some of you don't, but it's a skin condition that's really difficult for people to manage. There's no treatment for it that really works. There are some different things you can do, some steroids and some different things, immune supplements that you can do. I don't recommend that, but that kind of can manage it. Some people have been able to get it under control. And for me, when I went on a plant-based diet, that condition was probably the most stubborn out of everything else. It got better and better every month. I would have weaker flare-ups, and they would heal, and the healing time was increased. And then at about the 1 year mark, about my 1 year anniversary, I was completely, I had no more flare-ups. Everything was healed. No more, the scars had healed. Thank God. That was awful. It was so awful. So yeah, that was stubborn, but it went away, and I suffered with that for years. So it wasn't just a coincidence that I just grew out of it or some crazy thing. I suffered with that for, I want to say more than a decade. I was around 30 years old when it started. I had 2 operations, 2 surgical removals of really stubborn, I don't know what you call them, boils or cysts. But anyway, so that was one of the things. And then I had along with rheumatoid arthritis, a common symptom is chronic fatigue. And I have had chronic fatigue for most of my adult life. I might even have had narcolepsy. I wasn't diagnosed with it, but I slept as much as I possibly could whenever I could. I could put my head down anywhere or just sit down in a chair and pass out. I fell asleep a couple of times, like literally on a stationary bicycle trying to work out and like wake myself up. I fell asleep. I almost fell asleep once teaching an exercise class, albeit it was a seated chair exercise class for senior citizens, and half of them were asleep anyway. But I was just like dozing off in the middle of teaching exercise class. But I had chronic fatigue really bad, and the bad thing about that might not seem that bad, 'cause it's not like you're dying or anything, but the bad thing about chronic fatigue is how badly it affects and impacts your life. Like, it really handicaps you. You don't want to go do anything. You don't want to go anywhere. You don't want to be around people. You don't want to get ready to do things. You don't want to make an effort. You just don't have energy for anything. And so I did the things that I had to do, and the rest of the time I was laying down. I was, like on the weekends or whatever, in the evenings when I would finish a day, on my lunch break, I would go out to my car and sleep in my car every day. On my 10-minute breaks, I would go into my closet at work and sit in a chair and just like set my alarm and take little like power naps. I had chronic fatigue, and I would drink coffee all day trying to help me get through the day. Now I don't drink any coffee. I still love coffee, and I treat myself occasionally just because it's one of the most delicious things I can think of, but I just have it for special occasions. I probably have a coffee maybe 5 or 6 times a year, and that's it. Actually, lately I've been drinking even more than that, because I discovered this. I don't know. It's all gone. I drank it all, but I've probably been drinking a coffee more like twice a month. But I don't need it. I have great energy, amazing energy, and I never thought in all my life I would be able to say that I have amazing energy. So that was really wonderful. And then I'm a person just like most women that had painful and heavy periods all in my life. And when I went plant-based, they really, like, the flow decreased, the pain decreased. It just got to a point where they just felt very normal and manageable. I could just, if I had cramps, I could just take a couple of aspirin and that'd be done. I'd be good to go for the entire period. My periods went from being like 5 to 6 days long to more like 2 to 4 days long. Just a light flow, and minimal pain. And I know a lot of people experience that when they go plant-based, and a lot of people don't. So I think it just depends, and it depends on what type of plant-based you are too. Like, there might be certain foods that are still causing whatever that causes. I can't tell you. I mean, I have my theories on how it all comes together with the allergies and the painful heavy periods and why eating plant-based. I think that just eating plant-based, one, you're eliminating a lot of junk foods that cause a lot of internal inflammation. So you're eliminating those junk foods. You're eliminating the animal foods, which are just high in saturated fat by default. And then what are you replacing it with? So you're replacing it with fresh whole foods. And I try to eat mostly organic. I try to do a combination of cooked and raw. So I get in every day. I get in a lot of good nutrition. I try to get in greens every day, which are super alkalizing and filled with nutrition and vitamins and minerals. So yeah, you're taking out food that maybe is not so good for you, and you're putting in foods that we know are good for us. And I know that that's kind of a little bit of a controversial thing to say, because there are a lot of people out there that have tried, like, for example, a ketogenic diet, and they're doing really well, and they're experiencing maybe some health improvements as well, kind of like I have on a plant-based diet, which are two very different diets. So really, it's really just comes down to trial and error. I mean, each person has to try these things out and figure out, what the results are gonna be for you, right? I mean, that's the only way you're gonna know. What else? I think those are the major ones. And then of course the digestive issues, and that's what was really kind of the tipping point for me. I've had poor health all of my life, and I hated it, and I was always trying to figure out ways, just trying everything under the sun to get better. But it was when I started having the digestive issues that I felt desperate for answers. I really felt desperate for answers, and I've talked about this before. And it wasn't just so much the reflux or the bloating or the cramping and the indigestion and those things. For me personally, I had, like, I call it relentless or an explosive belching. So I was burping all the time. I could not escape it, no matter what I tried, no matter what I did, no matter what I ate, no matter what I didn't eat. I just burped a lot. And so that was really kind of just messing with my mind in a sense. Like I just felt there were days where I just wanted to end my life, like, or end somebody else's life, just because the irritability level was so high in me from this just constant belching, just exploding all the time. And yeah, I learned how to kind of hide it under my breath, like just these little burps, but it didn't matter. Like it was still, it'd be like if you had hiccups 24/7, it just drives you nuts. So that was kind of what pushed me to really try the 30-day challenge, or in here we do 28-day challenge, 4 weeks, 28 days, a 30-day vegan challenge. And here I call it a plant-based challenge just because there really is a difference between veganism and plant-based. And simply put is, when you're trying a plant-based challenge, it's really all about the food. When you proclaim that you're vegan, you're really saying, I care about the animals too. And so, you stop buying leather, and you're just more cautious when you make purchases. And you really take time to educate yourself about factory farming in particular, and what these animals by the millions are being bred into an existence that's hell on earth, basically, so that people can eat the food and decrease the vitality of their own health and damage the environment while you're at it. So it really just makes very little sense. It makes more sense to be plant-based, and to be plant-based doesn't mean to be entirely vegan. It means to eat plant-based, which it means like 90 to maybe 95%, at least 90% of the food you eat is plants, right? So if you still want to maybe have turkey on Thanksgiving, or do a Sunday meal with your family where you go ahead and eat, these animal foods. I mean, that's a choice that you have to make. It's a choice that I've chosen not to make, but I'm not going to force you, or it's a choice that each person has to make on their own. But that's basically the difference between plant-based and vegan. And I am vegan, but anyway, so that's it. So I'm going to wrap up the food. It is an amazing day here where I live in Astoria. It's beautiful. I've already been outside a couple of times, so I can't wait to get back out. And I'm going to enjoy my picnic, and I'm going to take a book and some water, and it's going to be lovely, and I can't wait. So I hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are. And I should be back in here tomorrow. My plan is to do a live stream today, Tuesday, and Wednesday for sure. Possibly Thursday, but Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. So all right. Thanks so much for watching.